Hello, it's the Dead Master back again to bring you another video. This time we'll be doing 3 true Let's Not Meet stories off of Reddit. The first story is called Almost Kidnapped at a Pool When I Was 6. Posted by you-save all the elephants. I was recently reminded of this encounter by my mother. If she hadn't brought it up, I probably would have gone the rest of my life without thinking of this incident. But once I did, then all these memories came flooding back. My family traveled from the Midwest to the East Coast almost every year. We usually drove through Canada to New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and then up to Maine, where my dad's family is from. We stopped at various tourist spots and resorts while on the trip. When I was somewhere around 6 to 7 years old, we stayed at a family-style resort in New Hampshire. It was a very large complex with 4 buildings full of hotel rooms, all facing each other with a parking lot to the left. A small park picnicking area in the middle, and the outdoor pool with a fence around it to the right. Each building had 2 levels, with outdoor stairs, and each room had a door that went outside, not into a hallway. There was a path from the bottom of the stairs through the small park to the pool. I've always been quick to get ready, so while my mom, dad, and sister, 1 year older, were getting ready to go to the pool, I was getting angsty and wanted to go check out the tacky water slide tackled onto the side of the pool. I remember my dad being busy and distracted while I said, "I'm going out to the pool," and began walking outside and down the stairs. You could see the park and pool from our balcony, but my dad wanted me to wait. I did not and proceeded to walk by myself out to the pool. I was walking along the path through the little park when 2 big arms picked me up and started pulling me back. This is what I have the sharpest memory of. My purple jelly sandals being lifted off the ground under me. I didn't immediately turn around because I just figured it was my dad dragging me back to the room. Mad that I had disobeyed him, I just sighed and accepted my fate as being in trouble. Then I heard my dad in the distance yell, "Hey, get off my daughter," or something similar, and so I finally turned to see who the hell was holding me. It was some guy, really tall, really thin, wearing dark colors. He had a car that was pulled up right to the park, not parked in a parking spot or anything, only about 20 feet away. I looked and saw my dad barreling down the motel stairs, holding my sister's water noodle and wearing his bright green neon water shorts. This was probably 96. The dude saw my dad, dropped me, and then dove into the car, which promptly took off. I cried because I had scraped my leg in the fall. My dad chased the car for a short while, but they quickly picked up speed and were gone. I have no idea if the license plate was recorded or the cops were called. We did continue to go to the pool and play, but I remember that my dad was in a rightfully bad mood the rest of the afternoon, and I couldn't get him to play in the pool with me. He usually was a big reader, but he just sat in his chair, peering around the parking lot and looking miffed for the rest of the afternoon. Who knows what would have happened if my dad hadn't been walking out behind me looking out the window. I was honestly probably 10 seconds away from being thrown in that car and taken God's nowhere. So creepy dude in New Hampshire, let's not meet again. Second story is called Living in Our Crawl Space Unbeknownst to Us. This is by YouMadKY67. I grew up on an island in Alaska, and I lived on the same property since birth to high school graduation. Our house was 2 stories, and the downstairs had a bathroom, furnace room, storage room, entryway, and rec room. One of the walls had some plywood pieces up so we could feed extension cords through it to our crawl space. We had a C-shaped driveway that you would enter from one side and then park in the carport, then just drive forward to the exit. The crawl space consisted of 2 big water tanks because we caught our own rainwater. We also used this area for storage. We also use this area for storage. The space was 10 to 15, but only 3 feet high. You had to lift the cover to get into the water tanks. You could only enter the crawl space from the side of the house. It was a 2 door that we kept master lock on, but never latched it. Our dog Brewster's area was on the side of the house as well. He had a big fenced area, his own stairway and porch, which was half covered, and he had a doghouse. Brewster was a Weimaraner chocolate lab mix who weighed 130 pounds. He was a fantastic dog who only barked when necessary. During the summer, we had black bears in our yards most nights, and Brewster would give a quick bark to get them out on their way. We knew his barks. There are 4 of us in my family: my parents, myself, and my older brother, who is 2 years older and has Down syndrome. My parents went to an adult night at church once in a while, and I would stay home with Travis. I was 11 and he was 13 when this took place. I would leave the downstairs door unlocked for my parents. I heard the door open and I thought I must have not heard the car pull up, and Travis was up past his bedtime, so I quietly tell Travis to go to bed, and I start walking through the kitchen. And I started walking through the kitchen to the top of the stairs, and I called out, "Mom, Dad," and I hear the footsteps stop, and I'm looking down the stairs, and I can see men's work boots and jeans. This isn't my parents. The way the stairs were set up, you could only see the bottom half of someone without descending the stairs. I'm scared to death, and I run to Travis, who is going down the hall, and I grab him and drag him into my parents' bedroom because it is the only room that locks, has a phone and rifles. Down's kids are very stubborn, so my brother just wants to go to his room. I'm trying to keep him in the room while I am grabbing a gun and trying to call my neighbor. I can hear him walking around downstairs still. My neighbor answers her phone immediately, and I whisper, "Someone is in my house, I'm scared." She told me to come out onto the front porch and she'd be there. I get the courage and run to the door and get outside. Thankfully, she is in our driveway and has her hound dog with her. She lets me know that she's going to enter the house for the downstairs. She disappears from sight but comes back quickly and tells me that the door is locked, so she makes her way up the stairs. She gets to the top when we hear the downstairs door open and crunching of gravel as the intruder is running off. She lets go of her dog's leash and the dog chases the person into the woods. The dog came back 10 minutes later, and our neighbors sat with us until my parents got home. Police were never called because I think my parents assumed it was a neighbor boy screwing with me. We live in a safe place where you just had to worry about bears and the occasional wolf. A week after this incident, our dog would bark 15 minutes after we went to bed every night. We would look out the windows and never saw anything. We figured it was bears. A couple months, the barking still happened. I had my best friend stay the night, and we would always stay in the downstairs so we can be louder and stay up as late as we like. Kate had a brother that was 7 years older, and we asked if he'd bring us some booze. I know we were young, but that was the norm for our town. Kids started drinking, doing drugs, and having sex in middle school. It was a little after midnight, and our brother never showed up. And Brewster never barked that night either. We were sitting on the stairs braiding each other's hair, and we both got a feeling like someone was looking at us. And we looked over, and the guy was staring into the window. We ran up the stairs in panic. We thought maybe it was our brother, but he wouldn't have come to the window and spy on us. We didn't wake my parents up just in case it was her brother. We waited 30 minutes and went back down to grab our stuff and went to sleep in my bedroom for the night. The next day, we talked to her brother, and it wasn't him. That night, Brewster was back to barking again. 2 more months go by, and I had gone to bed and heard Brewster bark. And I looked out my window, and as usual, didn't see anything. I had just dozed back off, and I woke up to Brewster barking frantically. I looked out the window, and I see a person running out of our driveway. I thought about waking my parents, but we had a trail on the side of our house that kids used to get to the road behind us. The neighborhood was on the side of a mountain, so all the kids used the trails to go south through to another road instead of using the main roads. I had never seen someone come out on the other part of the driveway because the trail was on the south side of the house along with the crawl space in Brewster's area. My room was the only room on the north side. I decided to go back to sleep, and I was tossing and turning. 15 minutes go by and I smell smoke. I go to the hall and the smell's a lot stronger, and I start to get hazy. In Travis's room, which was directly across from mine, I scream, "Fire, fire, wake up." My parents are up, and Travis doesn't want to get out of bed, but thank God for the strength of adrenaline. We got outside and the flames were pouring out of the crawl space. We get Brewster out of his enclosure, and the neighbors all come to help us. The firemen were there rather quickly, but the fire had destroyed the crawl space and my parents' and Travis's bedroom because they were directly over the crawl space. The firemen got the fire out. Thankfully, nobody was physically hurt. This was one of the scariest nights of my life, though. I always remember the fire chief kneeling down to speak to me, and he said, "Melinda, we believe it was arson." I looked at him with tears streaming down my face, and I say in anger, "Who is arson?" Everyone started laughing so hard. I am thinking, how is this funny? That damn arson could have killed my family. So he explained what arson was. I am still friends with the old fire chief's son, and I share that story with him a lot because his father passed away from cancer when we were teens. His father is the only happy memory I have from that horrific night. After the investigation, they pieced together that this guy had been living in our crawl space for at least 4 months. We know how he set the house on fire on purpose. We also know who did it. But because our crawl space wasn't looked, our insurance company wouldn't have paid for the repairs. So my parents never said anything to the police. It took 4 months for our house to be repaired. This guy was a 17-year-old who had been in foster care most of his life and had mental problems. What bothers me the most is knowing he had seen me and my friends undressed numerous times while changing in the rec room during tons of sleepovers, where he had set up shop was right next to the plywood with the holes drilled through. He listened to all of our secrets. I never explained to my friends that he had seen us and heard us during our sleepovers.